Colonel Edgardo Cardinosa. From the PSG, Colonel Jesus Durante III, Major General Adriano Perez, Major General Edgardo de Leon, Rear Admiral Alberto Carlos, Colonel Balisi from the Philippine Army, Lieutenant Colonel Raymar Perez, Colonel Joel Naknak, and Brigadier General Vincent Takderas. That's all, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
I would like to acknowledge also our Deputy Speaker Paulo Duterte na nakatutok lagi siya sa Facebook. Simula kahapon po ng umaga hanggang gabi at ngayong umaga ulit hanggang gabi, talagang sasamahan niya tayo ngayong araw na to at hanggang matapos ang budget hearing. Good morning sa DND, kila Secretary, sa mga kasamahan ko sa Kongreso. Gusto sana natin ngayon, yung mga tanong natin, malimitahan ulit ng 3 minutes. Kagabi kasi medyo na-delay tayo, pero maganda naman yung resulta at maganda yung pag-preside ng ating vice chairs. Nagpapasalamat ako sa kanila dahil talaga naman naitanong at naisagot ng maayos po lahat. Na-delay tayo pero na-achieve natin yung gusto natin ma-achieve, which is makuha natin yung mga sagot sa mga katanungan ng mga kongreso. For now, bibigyan natin ng chance na yung DND to present. DND, you are now recognized to present your presentation. Secretary Lorenzana, you are now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the Chairperson of the Committee on Appropriations, the Honorable Eric Goyap, and other members of the Committee on Appropriations, other members of the House of Representatives, invited guests, I am honored to present the budget proposal of the Department of National Defense for fiscal year 2021. The scope of my presentation shall be as follows. DND mandate, trusts, DND program expenditure, classification of DND program of expenditure classification, performance indicators and targets, the 2021 budget proposal, and its significant features. Pursuant to Executive Order number 292 as amended by Executive Order 112 series of 1999, the Department of Defense is mandated to maximize its effectiveness to guard against external and internal threats. Di pa lumalabas yung share mo lang, share lang nila. Nakashare sa akin pero hindi doon sa ano eh.
Malapit na po kami mag-upgrade ng mga facilities namin sa house. Panahon pa po ng lolo ko to nung nabili ang mga yan. Ayun nga kaya lang nabawasan pa tayo ng budget sa house.
Kailangan talaga, Mr. Chairman, mag-update tayo kasi ito na yung normal eh.
Ayun nga yung normal.
Wala problema.
Nakaisa ka agad si Cog 1-0.
Okay na ba? Hindi. Ano ka ba na-set up na ito kanina?
Pwede mo mahiram na lang yung laptop na nabibig para una na lang po namin.
Ay, sige.
Para
saan natin ilagay?
dito na lang po. Sorry po. Hindi pa nilalabas ko. May hard copy naman po kayo. Kukunin ko na lang po dito.
Okay.
Pero yung maglilipat na lang po sa atin. Operator na lang po.
Ha? Ano ba? Lalabas doon, no? Ba't hindi nyo inasis kanya na ito? Ano ba ba pwede ilagay doon? Okay, okay na yan. Kasi nandito na yung camera eh. Sige, sige. Ano lang. Para matuloy na tayo. Otherwise, hindi tayo tapos. Ito na yung camera na nakuha niya yung ano. Lalabas na ito. Kukuha na lang. Kukuha na lalabas doon. Ano? Okay naman. Susubukan mo nga.
Ayan. Hello.
Okay na?
Okay na? Yan. Ito mo.
Yan. Mr. Chairman,
The meeting is now resumed.
medyo nakuha rin yung technical I'll repeat again, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
To the chairperson of the Committee on Appropriations, the Honorable Eric Goyap, the other members of the committee, other members of the House of Representatives and invited guests, I am honored to present the budget proposal of the Department of National Defense for fiscal year 2021. The scope of my presentation shall be as follows. The mandate. Hindi naman gumagalaw. Nasa scope pa tayo eh. Bakit nasa department na tayo ng... Oh my God.
Meeting suspended.
Ha? Kaya nga, kung umuurong sila doon, umuurong din tayo dito. Bakit hindi tayo dito? Walang banta mga rin. Sabi ni check ulit.
Ah,
Wala nang presentation, Chairman.
Secretary, okay lang ba sa Zoom na lang i-present kami kahit wala na dyan, dito na lang kami mag-guide? Di ba?
Pero ongoing yun, Zoom.
Sa Zoom
Yeah.
okay, pero hindi ma-view dito. Okay lang yon, Sec?
Ah.
I-resume ko na, ha?
Hindi, ang tanong,
Sige.
kaya niya makita.
Hindi, meron siyang binabasa dyan, eh.
Sige, pwede.
Labas mo muna.
So, ma'am, tayo dito, okay lang tayo.
Okay. Okay. Sige, sige. Dito ka lang, ako lang. Okay. Scope na, scope na, scope na, scope. 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 Scope na, scope na kaagad. Mr. Chairman, may I continue?
The meeting is now resumed. Secretary Renzana, you're now recognized.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. The scope of my presentation shall be as follows. D&D mandate, thrusts, D&D program expenditure, the performance indicators and targets, the 2021 budget proposal, and its significant features. Pursuant to Executive Order number 292 as amended by Executive Order 112 series of 1999, the D&D is mandated to maximize its effectiveness to guard against external and internal threats to national peace and security, promote the welfare of soldiers and veterans, and provide support for social and economic development. In line with this mandate, the mission of the Department of Defense is to guard against external and internal threats to national peace and security, promote the welfare of soldiers, veterans, and their dependents in order to attain national security, uphold sovereignty and territorial integrity, and support socio-economic development and political stability. Trust for fiscal year 2021. To pursue our mandate and mission, we have set 5 program thrusts for 2021 as follows. Number 1, secure the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the state. Number 2, sustain and promote internal stability. Number 3, attain the highest standard of capability and preparedness on disaster mitigation. Number 4, improve and sustain operations in support to global peace and security. And lastly, good governance. Allow me, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, to present the organizational outcome and performance targets of the Department of Defense bureaus under the PRIXE structure. Program 1, Philippine Army. For 2021, to attain the desired level of support to force employers in the prescribed readiness condition, the Philippine Army targets to maintain 240 tactical battalions and 86 ready reserve battalions with 83 and 68 operational readiness respectively. It also aims to achieve 90% effective strength of tactical battalions that can be mobilized within 1 hour as dictated by higher headquarters. The Philippine Air Force, on the other hand, aims to provide 100% support of its tactical air operations group to the unified commands. To achieve this, the Air Force shall maintain 173 various types of aircraft in its inventory and respond to 90% of its flight directed mission within 1 hour and achieve 100% of its target flying hours. Similarly, for the Philippine Navy, it aims to provide all of its naval units to the unified commands. To attain this, it shall deploy and sustain 109 of its units for utilization, prepare 34 units for deployment, and sustain 137 force level support service units. The General Headquarters, AFP, shall deliver its organizational outcome of protecting the sovereignty of the state and the Filipino people through its 3 programs, namely 1. Joint force planning, number 2. Joint force operations, and number 3. Joint force capability. For the joint force planning sub-program, the General Headquarters commits to formulate, adopt, and issue 138 military plans and policies. Under the Joint Force Operations sub-program, it shall conduct 140 bilateral and multilateral engagement, 193,226 joint operations, and 5,944 security operations for the President, First Family, visiting heads of state, and other distinguished personalities. For the Joint Force Capability Sub-Program, the JHQ likewise commits to provide quality health care treatment and services to 10,852 military personnel and dependents, treat 90% of patients within the accepted length of stay per case, and provide training for 1,300 PMA cadets and 146 military students of the Command and General Staff Course. Lastly, for the AFP modernization sub-program, the JHQ aims to have 10 procurement contracts signed. May I now present the performance targets of the DND civilian bureaus for 2021. The Department of Defense proper, or the Office of the Secretary, commits to accomplish 100% of its targets based on DND proper policies and 80% of its policies and strategies accepted by the President and the Cabinet. To attain this, DND proper shall develop 90 key document products in accordance with the implementation of the Defense System of Management, or DSOM. 46 key document products for our international defense and security engagements, and 1 DND program performance and budget execution review, or PAPBER report. Meanwhile, in order to achieve 100% supportability of AFP small arms ammunition requirements for 2 basic loads, the government arsenal shall continue to manufacture 40 million rounds of small arms ammo with a 98% acceptance rate of its manufactured output based on standards. For the Office of Civil Defense, it aims to improve the resilience of communities to disasters through its 3 sub-programs, namely, number 1, civil defense enhancement, number 2, disaster risk reduction and management, number 3, disaster management operations. OCD Civil Defense Enhancement sub-program shall capacitate 1,663 volunteers and local DRRM officers and maintain 18 operation centers all over the country. On the other hand, through its disaster risk reduction and management sub-program, OCD aims that 70% of the participants rate the training as at least satisfactory and targets to assess 100% of GAWAD Kalasag entries submitted by different agencies and sectors and review and evaluate all 1,715 local DRRM plans of provinces, cities, and municipalities nationwide. Lastly, for the Disaster Management Operations Sub-Program of the OCD, it aims to ensure that 100% of requests for non-food items of disaster-stricken LGUs are acted upon, as well as the conduct and support of slow onset and sudden onset hazards. In addition, the OCD endeavors to ensure 100% accomplishment on operations conducted and or supported in response to planned events. The National Defense College of the Philippines is responsible for the training and development and improvement of defense and security leaders. For 2021, it commits to produce 20 research papers and 10 publications on defense and security policy studies. It shall likewise continue to conduct the Masters in National Security Administration, or MNSA, course with 65 enrollees and graduates. For the Philippine Veterans Affairs Office, its goals are to empower Filipino veterans and to demonstrate the Filipino people's appreciation and gratitude to the veterans through its 3 programs. Under the Veterans Welfare and Benefits Administration Program, PVAO shall process 92% of benefit claims within 10 working days upon receipt of complete documents and provide non-pension benefits to 9,998 recipients. Through its Veterans Affairs Management Program, PVAO aims to conduct 42 veteran-related engagement and assist 42 veterans organizations. Under its Veterans Memorial and Historical Preservation Program, PVAO shall also maintain 8 existing shrines, conduct 13 veterans celebratory events, and produce 4 publications. For the Veterans Memorial Medical Center, its primary responsibility is to deliver quality health care services to veterans and their dependents. To support this in 2021, BMMC shall provide health care services to veterans and their dependents categorized by ensuring the proper treatment of 11,000 inpatients and 195,000 outpatients. The Veterans Hospital shall likewise provide the needed attention and treatment to patients in the emergency ward. To provide the resources to accomplish the goals of the department as earlier discussed, allow me to present the DND's budget proposal for fiscal year 2021. Based on the National Expenditure Program, the Defense Department is allocated a total of 200...
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Jonathan.
Mr. Chairman, sa akin pong pagkakaintindi, sa bilin po ni, sa sinabi po ni Comsec kahapon, ay naibigay na po itong presentation ni Secretary Lorenzana.
Yes,
Sa ating
kahapon
mga
pa po.
kasama, kahapon pa.
Yes,
At
tama po.
inaasahan po natin na due diligence ng isang kinatawan na napag-aralan na po ito bago umattend ng hearing, Mr. Chair. Kaya, Mr. Chair, to save time and effort sa panahon ng pandemya, siguro mabuti buksan na natin at simulan na natin yung period of interpellation.
Okay ako dyan, Congressman Alvarado. Mr. Secretary Lorenzana,
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
kung okay lang ba sa inyo, magsimula na tayo ng interpellation dahil mahaba po yung babasahin nyo at baka mawalan po kayo ng boses at lahat naman
Masyado
po
po
ay may
makapalito, Mr.
kopya
Chair.
na. Ngayon,
That is
bago po
welcome,
tayo
Mr. Chairman.
mag-interpellate, gusto ko lang pong sabihin sa inyo na ako po ay hindi magtatanong. Bakit po? Ang tiwala ko sa ating presidente ay 100% po. Ganon po rin yung paniniwala ko na hindi papayag ang presidente na magkaroon ng korupsyon, lalong-lalo na sa Department of Defense, National Defense. So malaki po ang tiwala ko sa presidente at siya po ay malaki ang tiwala niya sa kanyang Secretary Lorenzana. So hindi po ako magtatanong bilang bilang chairman ng APRO. Hayaan na po natin, mauna na po ang minority, pero on the record po, hindi po ako magtatanong sa Department of National Defense bilang chairman po ng appropriations. Minority Leader, Congressman Benito Abante, you are now recognized. You may ask the questions. You have 3 minutes. Minority Leader.
Mr. Chair, kung habang hinihintay po natin si Minority Leader Bishop Benny Abante, baka po maaaring tumawag po muna kayo ng isang miyembro po ng minority, Mr. Chairman.
Congresswoman Arlene Brosas, you're now recognized. You have 3 minutes to ask questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, Am I clear there?
Yes, you're now clear, Congressman Arlene Brosas. You may now proceed to your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, kaugnay po sa budget ng DND na may increase na 16.97 billion, mula po doon particular sa sovereignty budget, sovereignty of the state and Filipino people budget, magkano po ang increase para dito?
Secretary Lorenzana, can you answer? You're now recognized.
Mr. Chairman, can I listen to the questions again, please?
Congressman Arlene, can you please repeat the questions?
Mr. Chair, I am asking the Secretary magkano ang itinaas na bilyon ng budget ng sovereignty and of the state and Filipino people. Ang appropriation po sa sovereignty.
Secretary Lorenzana, you can now answer.
Ang itinaas po ng budget natin ngayon kaysa ngayong taon na to ay 16.96 billion pesos. Ito po ay ang pagtaas na ito ay para sagutin ang kadagdagan sa personnel services na 2.4 billion pesos, kadagdagang MOOE with an increase of 7.67 billion, and capital outlay with an increase of 6.89 billion. Ito pong capital outlay ay kasama rito yung mga dapat nating bibilhin para mapangalagaan natin ang ating mga mamamayan. Kung yun po ang kailangan, ang gusto malaman ng butihing congresswoman.
Mr. Chair, I am asking about the sovereignty appropriation. Mr. Chair, kaya ko po tinatanong ito, kung maaalala niyo po, ayon mismo kay Secretary Lorenzana sa kanilang online press briefing noong August 3, President Rodrigo Duterte has a standing order to us. In quote po ito, President Rodrigo Duterte has a standing order to us, to me, that we should not involve ourselves in naval exercises in the South China Sea except our national waters, the 12-mile distance from our shores. Kaya po kinakwestiyon natin sa DND, Mr. Chair, how will the 41.4 billion be spent kung wala pong gagawin ng AFP with China's military exercises, Mr. Chair?
Secretary Lorenzana.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, yung pong ginagawa natin sa South China Sea ay patuloy nating pinapatrolyahan yung ating nasasakupan riyan, yung ating EAZ at saka yung Kalayaan Island Group. Sa katunayan nga, Mr. Chairman, ay meron tayong ginagawang improvement ng ating mga facilities sa Pag-asa Island. Patuloy po yan, inumpisahan natin ng isang taon at siguro bago matapos ang taon na to, ay magkakaroon na tayo ng simentadong airport dyan at pwede natin mapuntahan kahit anong araw. Yung pong mga barko natin sa mga aeroplano, panay rin ang patrolya dyan. Yung ating mga patrolya ay tina-challenge ng China. Tayo naman ay palagi natin sinasabing tayo ay lumilipad sa ating airspace o tayo ay naglalayag sa ating sa ating waters. Yung pong exercise nila dyan ay ginagawa po nila sa labas naman ng ating iisip. Ang exercise ng mga China, mga Chinese. Yung exercise naman ng mga Amerikano ay ginagawa nila diyan mismo sa South China Sea, kasama na yung exclusive economic zone natin. Pero hindi po tayo kasama diyan, sumasama sa kanila dahil unang-una ay mayroong nga utos si Presidente na huwag tayong makipag-exercise sa Amerikano diyan sa South China Sea, lalo-lalo na sa ating yung mga disputed area. Pero kung talagang kailangan natin makipag-exercise, naval exercise with the Americans, pwede natin gawin doon sa ating mga territorial waters diyan sa Sulu Sea, hindi doon sa disputed area. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go
Mr.
ahead.
Chair, my questions can be answered with yes or no. Tuloy-tuloy ba ang mga Chinese sa construction ng artificial islands?
Secretary Lorenzana, please answer with yes or no.
Tuloy-tuloy yung kanilang improvement sa mga nagawa na nilang isla, Mr. Chairman. Kasi tayo naman, tuloy-tuloy
Mr.
tayo.
Chair,
Yes,
second
Congresswoman.
question. Konti lang po kasi yung time ko, so kailangan ko po yung yes or no eh. Aktibo ba ang China sa pagtatayo ng marine research facility sa West Philippine Sea?
Congressman Lorenzana.
Hindi po namin alam kung anong ginagawa sa mga isla nila, pero ang alam namin ay nandyan sila palagi at tuloy yung pagdami ng kanilang mga buildings dyan. We do not know what kind of activities they are doing there kasi hindi naman tayo nakakapunta doon, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, China launched 2 research stations in the Cavitean Reef and Zamora Reef. Nakakabahalo po itong mga research stations na ito dahil posibleng magtulak ito ng agresibong poaching at pagsira sa ating yamang dagat, kasabay ng mas malalang pagtaboy sa ating mga mangingisda. Kaya ko po itinatanong ito kung aware ang AFP dito, Mr. Chair. Kasi may relasyon po ito sa kung paano ang nagiging panuntunan ng AFP sa pagtulong sa ating mga mangingisda, sa ating mga mamamayan. Lalo na, yung kaugnay na pondo dito ay para sa soberanya, Mr. Chair. Now, Mr. Chair, tuloy-tuloy po ba ang militarization ng Chinese troops sa West Philippine Sea? Yes or no, Mr. Chair?
Secretary Lorenzana.
Alam natin na meron silang mga tropa dyan, but we do not know how big are the troops. We cannot have any way of knowing that. Pero kung ang tanong tuloy-tuloy ba ang kanilang presence dyan, ay totoo yan. Yes, Mr. Chairman. Tuloy-tuloy ang kanilang presence dyan sa kanilang mga isla dyan na artificial islands, dyan sa may Subi Reef, Mischief Reef, at saka Fiery Cross.
Mr. Secretary, hindi naman ibig sabihin na ito, binibigay na natin sa China yung teritoryo na yun, di ba?
Hindi po.
So patuloy pa rin tayo na we're still claiming it pa rin.
Correct. Tama yan, Mr. Chairman, kasi doon sa Spratly, meron tayong 9 na isla. Hindi po ito mga reefs.
So hindi po ibig sabihin na nagko-construct sila doon, tuloy-tuloy yung militarization ng China doon, ang Pilipinas ay sumuko na tayo.
Hindi po, Mr. Chairman.
So tuloy ang laban.
Tuloy natin ang ating
Such
president.
Yes, Congresswoman Eileen, you can ask your question.
Ang tanong ko po dyan, talabas po ito sa misyon at mandato ng DND na ang goal ay to uphold sovereignty and territorial integrity. Kaya habang nagkakaroon po ng mga ganito, dahil sinagot naman tayo, may militarization pa rin, may artificial islands, nangangamba po tayo dito sa ginagawa ng China.
Natatakot po siya sa China, sa ginagawa ng China, naputol lang.
Papansin niyo po, kung lalong dadami yan, at sinasabi niyo na pinagtatanggol natin, pero in actuality, nagtutuloy-tuloy yung lahat ng ginagawa, construction ng artificial islands, marine research facilities, and everything, para kung wala na tayong kinalaman doon. Samantala, we are claiming itong West Philippine Sea. Dapat po i-uphold ng DND, Department of National Defense, dahil mandato niya ito, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for your last question. Mr. Secretary Lorenzana, can you please answer the question?
We are doing our best with the assets available to us na patrolyahan natin yung ating mga areas na yan. Now, it's not adequate to actually kasi napakalawak ng West Philippine Sea, and the Navy has limited assets, also the Air Force. But we are trying our best with our limited assets to assert our sovereignty over the area, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Secretary. Just in case kailangan yung makipaggera, ipepledge ko po yung sarili ko, sasama po ako sa inyo, hahawak po ako ng baril, ipagtatanggol po natin ang Pilipinas.
Salamat
And
po,
now,
Mr. Chairman.
Vice Chairman ng Appropriations, Congressman Swansing, you are now recognized.
Idol na lang po konti dahil meron po akong hihinging mga papers.
Okay,
Preparation
please.
for the plenary.
Yes,
Mr.
Congresswoman.
Chair, may I ask?
Yes po. You're now
Yes,
recognized.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, on COVID-19 response, based on the DBM's NCAs, no, the DND Office of Civil Defense released 32 million last July 17, supposedly to cover utilization of trust receipts sourced from donated funds for coronavirus disease 2019 expenditure items. Hindi po natin maintindihan yung meaning nito, so submit po tayo sa DND ng source of funds from COVID-19 donations po ba ito? Kung meron po silang report dito, maaari po bang isumite? And Mr. Chair, DND released 444 million to the Philippine Army, 12 million to the PSG, 32.3 million to the Navy, 7.4 million to the Marines, 17 million to the Air Forces, and a staggering 1.2 billion to the AFP General Headquarters noong April 1. Mr. Chair, yung intelligence funds po na ito, kung merong report ang DND, papasabit po tayo. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Secretary.
We will comply, Mr. Chairman. We will comply po.
Okay, Concept, you're directed to get a copy from the DND, yung mga kailangan ni Congresswoman Eileen Bosas. And now, to Mr. Vice Chair ng Appropriations, the Honorable Congressman Horacio Swansing. You're now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Alam mo, Mr. Chair, galing po ako sa 2nd District ng Sultan Kudarat. Alam ni Secretary Lorenzana na yung area ko is a conflict area. So, nandito ako ngayon para humingi ng suporta sa Kongreso para pagbigyan ang inihingi na budget ng DND. Ang budget na hiningi nila sa 2021 is 191.5 billion. Is that correct, Mr. Secretary?
Mr. Secretary, you can answer the question.
The total budget that we are actually proposing, according to the national expenditure of the President, Mr. Chairman, is 283.26 billion.
Nakikita ko pala yung budget for allocation for major programs pala ito, Mr. Secretary. So, ang nakikita ko dito sa na-download nyo sa budget briefing, out of the allocated operational budget nyo, only 93 or 94% are obligated annually from 2017 to 2019. Is that correct, Mr. Secretary?
Congressman, please address the chairman para magtanong.
So,
Secretary Lorenzana, you're now recognized. You can answer the question.
nasabi kasi ako nagpipreside.
Unfortunately, Mr. Chairman, I do not have those data now. Can I just submit it to the Honorable Congressman from South?
Copy, Mr. Chair, but this was downloaded from the briefer of the DBCC. So it shows here that 94% is only is the amount obligated from 2017 to 2019. But that's not my point, Mr. Chair. My point right now, Mr. Chair, is concerned to the Philippine Army. Kasi alam mo naman, ang Philippine Army, yon ang nagre-responde palagi sa distrito ko. Ang distrito ko po, yon ang playground ng NPA, ng dati MN, MI, BIFF, Abu Sayyaf, lahat nandoon po. Kaya gusto ko lang, may tanong po kay Mr. Chair, kung may mga priority projects kasi yung Philippine Army na nakalista dito. Isa po, additional priority projects ito na kung bilang Vice Chair, gusto ko dito isulong ito na idagdag sa pondo ng DND. Number 1 po is the operationalization of 11th ID. Ito po yung bagong infantry division at tinalaga sa Sulu. Is that correct?
Secretary Lorenzana.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Na-organize na po yan. It's already organized. It's already a regular infantry division. Ang ginagawa natin ngayon ay pinupunuan natin lang ng personnel. Mayroon na yatang isang brigade dyan, operational, 2 brigades pa po ang ating ino-organize. 2 brigades na, so isang brigade na lang kulang para kumpleto na yung 11th Infantry Division, Mr. Chairman.
Ang pondo na kailangan po ng isang division, Mr. Chair, is 1.2 billion. Hindi po nakalagay yun doon sa kasulukuyan na budget proposal. Pangalawa po, nung kapanahunan ko, nung kabataan ako, mahilig po ako manood ng Green Beret. Hindi mo pa nabutan yata yon. Kaya nga, nung sa storya po noon, doon inuso yung helicopter. Yung advance na parang cavalry nila na may advanced positioning. Ngayon, gusto na rin na po ng Philippine Army natin na gayahin yun. 1980s yun, ngayon 2020s na po. Ngayon may binudget po sila sa Philippine Army Helicopter Capability Development na 486 million, Mr. Chair. Sana mahanapan na rin natin po ng pondo ito para kasi pareho po sa distrito ko. Ang isang munisipyo po, galing Palimbang, na kung saan marami tayo nahuli ng mga abusayap, papunta po sa Kapitolyo ng Sultan Kudarat, 4 na oras po yung land travel. Ngayon, bago makaresponde ang army, matagal po. Nakaalis na po yung mga kalaban. So kung may helicopter capability po sana, yung Philippine Army, mabilis ang responde. So may isa sa mga priority program po nila, Mr. Chair. Tapos po, marami pong donation galing sa iba't ibang bansa. May mga equipments po ang Philippine Army na kailangan ng operating expenses. So, kailangan din po nila ng halos 2 bilyon para i-maintain at saka i-operate yung mga equipment na ito. Tapos ngayon po,
Congressman Swansing, paubos na po ang ating oras.
oh sige,
Sorry.
mabilis lang po. Ito po yung ang laban kasi ngayon sa Mindanao po gabi. So kailangan din natin ng night fighting capability. So kailangan din po ng Philippine Army ng 2.6 billion. At saka ito ngayon, bago na po ngayon, Cyber Battalion. Pinakita po ni General Gapa ito sa presentation ng anibersaryo ng Philippine Army. So lahat na ito po, kailangan ng 6.4 billion, Mr. Chair. So nandito po ako ngayon para humingi ng tulong sa Appropriations Committee.
Madagdagan ang pondo ng DND.
O kung ano, alam mo naman, galing ako sa gera doon eh. So, kailangan ng tulong talaga. So, that's all, Mr. Chair.
Ang point lang po ng ating butihing Congressman Swansing, yung Green Beret, dapat po ang gayahin natin G.I. Joe. Anyway, gusto po niya madagdagan ng pondo ang DND at hindi niya po kailangan sagutin ang SEC dahil ang susunod na magtatanong po ay siyempre walang iba kundi si Congresswoman Franz Castro. Ma'am, you are now recognized.
Mr. Chairman, pwede ko bang dagdagan yung
Sorry. Okay, sige po. You are now recognized, Secretary.
Tama po yung sabi ng butihing Congressman ng Sultan Kudarat. Tayo po ay nangangailangan ng mga helicopter na also night capable. So mayroon po tayong nabili na i-deliver ngayong umpisa nitong taon na to na 16 Seaforce Black Hawk na ito po ay talagang para sa Air Force. Ngayon, hindi pa po handa yung Army na tumanggap ng mga helicopter. So, Air Force pa lahat ngayon. Kailangan po natin, tama po sinabi ni Congressman Swansing na yung ating maintenance and operating expenses ng ating mga donated equipment, tulad yung mga barko, C-130, ay kailangan po natin yon. And cyber warfare ay ginagawa na po natin yan.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. At ngayon, kung gusto dagdagan ni Congressman Swansing ang budget, pakinggan naman natin si Congresswoman Franz Castro. At Madam, you are now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yan. Kung si Kong Swansing gustong madagdagan ang budget ng DND, ako naman gusto kong bawasan. Comsec.
Game, ma'am. Ask the question.
Mr. Chair, doon po sa comparison ng budget ng 2020 GAA at saka 2021, meron po ditong napakalaking increase, no? 21,640.70%. Ito po yung administration of personnel benefits. Pwede bang maipaliwanag ito ng ating secretary, Mr. Chair?
Secretary Lorenzana, you're now recognized to answer the question of Congresswoman Franz Castro.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, hinahanap ko lang yung ano rito, kung saan yung ano yan. Pakiulit nga po yung tanong.
Again, Mr. Chair, if we're going to compare the GAA for 2020 with that of the 2021 NEP, so ito po sa GAA po ng 2020, Mr. Chair, 1,081,000, and then 2021 naging 235,017,000. So nakita po natin yung increase, Mr. Chair, 21,640.7 increase. So ano po ba itong in-increase nung administration of personnel benefits? Pwede po bang maipaliwanag or madetalye po sa atin?
Secretary Lorenzana, you are now
Mr. Chairman.
recognized.
I'm just looking for the data here. Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the amount is actually requirements for filling up of positions. Marami kasi bakanting position dun sa AFP, both in the uniform and the civilian sector. Tapos ito pong isa, pangalawa, second tranche of the salary increase for the civilian personnel authorized under Republic Act number 11466. Yung pangatlo po ay terminal leave and the retirement gratuity benefits of soldiers who are leaving the service. And number 4, other personnel services adjustments. Ito po yung mga increase ng mga salaries or pensions ng mga retirees.
So, ilan pong personnel yung nadagdag, Mr. Chair?
Secretary Lorenzana.
I do not have the figure here, Mr. Chairman. Can I just submit this data?
Please, Comsec, just get the data from our good secretary. Yes, Congresswoman Castro, you're now recognized.
Ito lang, Mr. Chair, yung administration of personnel benefits, yung po sa mga binanggit ni Secretary na mga additional po, yun po yung kailangan nating i-report.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Another question, Mr. Chair, tatlo lang naman yung question ko. On the transparency on COVID releases to DND and AFP, iba ito dun sa binanggit ni Congresswoman Brosas. Kasi ayon po sa datos, Mr. Chair, ng DBM, may total na 1,146,975,775 na napunta sa DND at AFP dahil sa baho law o yung bayanihan to act to heal as one law. So, ano po itong mga to, Mr. Chair? Yung charge against pooled savings, meron pong 150,702,648 to cover the operational budget requirements for the temporary treatment and monitoring facilities for COVID-19, charge against 2020 and 2019 budget o continuing appropriations. Meron pong 99,745,000 na napunta sa OCD to front-load cash requirements. Meron din pong 150 million na napunta sa Veterans Memorial Medical. Meron din pong, Mr. Chair, a total of 100 million na napunta sa AFP, Army, Navy, and Air Force. So, ang tanong ko lang, Mr. Chair, aside from dun po sa veterans na naka-detailed naman siya, almost 1 billion ito na na-rechannel or na-divert doon sa pondo para sa COVID. So ano-ano po itong mga pinagkagastosan itong mga programang ito, Mr. Chair?
Secretary Lorenzana,
Yes, Mr.
you're
Chairman.
now recognized.
Yung pong ang natanggap po na total ng DND, ng Department of Defense, from the Bayanihan Act Fund ay 979.3 billion. Ito po ay nakadistribute unang-una 150.7 million sa AAP Health Service Command. Yun po ang ating mga health system ng Armed Forces, mga hospitals. GHQ 24.2 million, Philippine Army 14.6 million, Philippine Air Force 45.5 million, at Philippine Navy 15.5 million. Yung pong OCD ay 728.6 million. So, mayroon pa po kaming balance na hindi nagagamit. Gagamitin pa namin sa susunod na mga buwan na 176.944 million. Nang paggamit po nito ay ginagamit po ng mga units ito kung napanglaban sa COVID. Kasi marami po tayong mga tao na sa frontline, checkpoints, at saka pangangalaga rin ng kalusugan ng ating mga sundalo at saka mga dependents nila against COVID. Yung Philippine Army ay nagbigay pa ng mga libreng sakay nung una. So, gastos din po yon. Yung Philippine Air Force, yung 45.5 million, ay ginamit po ito mostly panghakot ng mga PPEs at saka ibang supplies galing sa China. At at the same time, pagdala ng mga supplies na to mula dito sa Manila sa mga probinsya. Ganon din po yung Philippine Navy ay naghakot din ng mga PPEs ito mula ibang bansa dahil papunta rito. At the same time, naghakot din sila ng mga supplies at saka mga tao sa mga probinsya. Yan po ang pagkagamit niyan. Yung pong OCD ay kung po ito mga treatment facilities at saka mga isolation centers. At saka pag-aangkat din ng mga supplies. Ganun po ang pagkakagastos itong ating mga yung perang na natanggap sa bayanihan. Now, Mr. Chairman, we also the DBM also recovered from our budget the amount of 19 billion total po ang kinuha ng ang binawas ng ang kinuha ng DBM mula sa budget ng DND yung hindi pa na-obligate ay nakuha po. 19 billion po ang aming naibigay dyan to add to the COVID fund.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. To your last question, Ma'am Congressman
Yes, Mr.
Castro.
Chair, can we ask the written, for transparency, Mr. Chair, yung pong mga binanggit ni Secretary, can we ask the written report on that? Yung 1 billion
We
po.
will submit, Mr. Chairman.
Except for the veterans, malinaw naman na po. Yung iba na lang.
COMSEC is hereby directed to get the copies from the Department of National Defense.
Okay. Yung last po, Mr. Chair, may kinalaman ito doon sa red tagging tsaka EJK. Medyo malapit sa puso ko ito dahil meron kaming isang mag-asawang teacher, in fact, na nabiktima ng red tagging at nagkaroon ng frustrated EJK. Ito ay si Teacher Shaidi at saka si Teacher Ramil doon po sa Valencia City. So, ito po bunga ito, Mr. Chair, Mr. Secretary, nung patuloy na ginagawa po ng military and syempre sa PNP rin na continuous na red tagging po dun sa aming mga unions ng Alliance of Concerned Teachers. In fact po, si Ma'am Shaidi ngayon ay talagang hindi pa rin talaga nakakapag-recover dahil nga doon sa tinamong frustrated. Meron pong talagang nagpunta sa school pa at binaril yung mag-asawa. So, ang tanong ko, Mr. Chair, kasi isa sa mga mandate din naman, siguro mga mga civilian na naka-riding in tandem. So ang tanong natin, so sabi, 'di ba, security internal and external. So paano po pinangangalagaan ng ating DND yung mga civilian? Kasi kung ang puntirya po ay mga NPA, itong mga mamamayan na to, mga estudyante ay hindi na, wala naman sigurong kinalaman. So paano po pangangalagaan ng DND yung naman security ng ating mga civilian na civilian na mga mamamayan? Mr.
Thank you for your last question, Congresswoman. Secretary, please, are you
Mr.
now
Chairman,
recognized?
the main function of the armed forces is to protect the people. Hindi po namin tinutolerate yung basta na lang pumapatay ang sundalo dyan. Ngayon, kung may mga riding in tandem dyan na pumapatay, ay hindi naman nangangahulugan ng mga sundalo yan eh. Mahigpit po yung standard na pinapatupad namin sa mga sundalo sa field. Kahit dito sa city nga, magkakaroon din ng patayan na gumagamit ng riding in tandem. Kaya lang po ay napakalawak naman yung area at limitado naman yung tropa natin, lalong-lalo na dun sa mga probinsya. Kaya hindi natin malagyan ng lahat ng lugar ng tao para gwardiyahan yung mga mamamayan.
Would suggest na lang, Secretary, yung mas more on visibility ng mga sundalo natin at kapulisan siguro.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ito ay talagang malapit sa puso kasi dahil teacher yan, constituents ko, no. So siguro Mr. Chair, yung talagang red tagging, yung talagang nakakapag sa buhay ng mga guro natin at yung mga civilian. Kaya po ito po ay pati mga eskwelahan, Mr. Chair, kinakampuhan ng mga militar, ng mga paramilitary. So tingin namin mga paramilitary yung tumira dito, na sa tingin natin, yung pati investigasyon 1 year na to wala pang nangyayari.
Sige.
So yun na lang, Mr. Chair, sana ang DND ba ay sinasabi nila na hindi sila sangkot sa mga red tagging at mga vilification ng mga aktivista at mga unionist natin, Mr. Chair.
Okay,
So yun na lang.
Mr. Secretary, please answer with yes or no lang.
No, we do not red tag legitimate dissenters, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. At ngayon po, gusto ko rin magpasalamat sa mga vice chairs ng APRO at yung mga member ng appropriations na yung mga tanong nila kasi karamihan pinadadala na lang nila sa amin at diretso namin itinatanong sa mga secretaries para ma-address yung concerns nila. Kaya lang po, itong si Vice Chair Congressman Rufy Biason po ay gusto niya magtanong personally. So, Congressman Rufy Biason, you are now recognized po.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to my colleagues, good morning, and of course to the Defense Department family, good morning. Pasensyahan nyo na lang po because my support for the AFP-DND is so much so that even if I am a vice chair, I would like to ask some questions which would go down to the support for them. Bottom line is we want to support the AFP-DND with the sufficient resources that they need. So these questions are geared towards that. Through the chair, Mr. Secretary, what is the sense of the defense establishment regarding the share that it is getting from the BCDA under the basis conversion law? Have you been given what you believe is a rightful share, a fair share, or a sufficient share?
Mr. Chairman, yes, we are receiving our fair share. Now, the BCDA law, hindi naman kumo yung mga camps na na-convert na pinagbili o pinag-release. It's not 100% na pupunta sa armed forces or sa defense. Marami pong hati-hati dyan. I think we are only getting about 25% for sale and 35% for sale of the land, real estate, and 50% for yung lease. So, Mr. Chairman, we are getting our fair share.
Congressman Rufy Biason,
Yes.
you're now recognized. You can ask questions.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. for the record, you're allocated a 35% share. Is that correct? Through the chair, Mr. Secretary.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Is the coverage just for, and the coverage is just for Metro Manila military properties. Is that correct, Mr. Chairman?
Secretary Lorenzana.
Mr. Chairman, I think the BCDA covers major camps, Metro Manila, which are the Fort Bonifacio, the Villamor Air Base. Now, Clark was not a camp of the AFP. It belonged to the U.S. bases. Also, Subic. So, ang tingin ko rito, Mr. Chairman, yung pinagtutuunan ng pansin ngayon ng BCDA ay ito pang mga lupang natitira dito sa Metro Manila at saka sa Clark and Subic. So, hindi pa po nagagalaw yung mga ibang lupa ng armed forces, lalong-lalo na yung Philippine Army sa ibang lugar. Like we have also lands in Baguio, in Tarlac, in Cebu, and in Cagayan de Oro City.
Pero Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, hindi ho ba nakalagay sa batas na yung AFP share ay kukunin lamang doon sa sale ng Metro Manila properties?
Yes. Yes, Mr. Chairman, wala kaming share dyan sa Clark kasi hindi naman yan mga kampo ng military. Ngayon, ito pong gagawin namin dito sa next round ng ating tatawag ng Department of Finance na monetizing our lands ay baka hindi na BCDA ang imamanage na lang po ng EFP lease. Karamihan mo yan o lahat na lang siguro i-lease para meron tayong steady and permanent stream of funds for our modernization. Lalong-lalo na yung mga lupa natin sa mga probinsya. Pwede naman po sa batas, there is the revised modernization at saka yung BCDA that the armed forces can already manage the leasing of lands so that it can get all the proceeds for itself for modernization.
Okay, talking about AFP properties, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, ano po ang position ng AFP-DND sa Sangley Point development in relation to the Navy base that is located in the area?
Secretary
Mr.
Lorenzana.
Chairman, yung pong airport dyan, used to be yung airstrip dyan, na dating pag-aari ng occupied by the Air Force, ay ipinagpalit po ng CAAP, ibinigay ng Air Force ng CAAP sa Philippine Air Force yung Lumbia Airport sa Cagayan de Oro. In exchange po that kasi gagawin nilang civilian airport yang Sangley. Ngayon, gusto po naming i-retain yung naval base diyan, yung sa Navy. Kasi very strategic yan. If possible, we do not want to leave Sangley, especially yung ating naval assets diyan sa Sangley.
Congressman Biason. Congressman Rufy Biason.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, medyo nag-choppy lang yung signal. If I may pursue on that point, so given the option, the AFP-DND would like to retain having a base at the mouth of Manila Bay for strategic purposes. Is that correct, Mr. Chairman? Mr. Secretary.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that's what we want.
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Secretary, I'm sure there are other areas in the country where you have bases and properties. How do you feel about reserving them permanently for military strategic purposes? In other words, yung proteksyonan natin para hindi siya mawala sa ating control, no, because of its strategic importance. Kasi yung possibility na biglang ma-convert yan o maibenta. How does the AFP-DND feel about reserving them permanently for national defense and security purposes?
Yes, Mr.
Mr.
Secretary.
Chairman, we support that suggestion. Actually, that is what we want, to retain ownership of these lands all over the country. Sa katunayan po ay ang Philippine Army ang pinakamalaking land owner sa armed forces. It has more than 200,000 hectares all over the country. May maliliit na area, may malalaki katulad ng Fort Magsaysay, sa Hamindan, at saka sa Bukidnon. And we would like to retain them as a future utilization of our troops as we expand, Mr. Chairman.
Congressman,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
in the interest of time, we'll be cutting short my questions at this point. May I just make a manifestation as a final statement, Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, Congressman Rufy Biason.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. In the past, in the last 6 years of my 13-year membership in the House, I have been sponsoring and defending the budget of the Department of National Defense and AFP. So my support for them is all out. And based on the questions and the answers given by the Secretary, I would like to endorse to the members of this House, this committee, and the House in general, some legislation that I have filed pursuing the objectives na sinabi po ni Secretary na nais din nilang makita. Una po dito yung pagbigay ng isang batas, no, House Bill 555 na final ko, authorizing the disposal or commercial development of certain military camps and reservations, creating for the purpose the Military Real Estate Development Authority. Yung nabanggit po kanina ni Secretary na outside the BCDA, yung pamamaraan para mag-benefit sila from their properties. Another is House Bill 699, amendment, which is an amendment to RA 7227 as amended by RA 7917, na tinataas yung share ng AFP modernization program from 35% to 55%. Para po at pinapalawak na to cover not just military, Metro Manila military properties, but military properties all over the country. It would really be a big boost to our AFP modernization if they are given these funds. Then finally, House Bill 4304 for the giving the DND the authority to declare certain areas of public domain as strategic for the security and development of the country. Ibig sabihin po, pag pinpoint nila na ang isang lugar ay is of strategic importance for defense and security, hindi lamang ito basta-basta maibebenta o ma-develop for other private or commercial purposes. We should give national security primacy over yung commercial conversion of these properties. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I thank you for this opportunity, and of course, to the Secretary of Defense, the Armed Forces of the Philippines, rest assured of this representation support all the way. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning.
Hearing suspended.